Alfred Naro.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise and take a call in the Residential Tenancies Amendment Bill, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I just want to make a couple of remarks and starting off. Just, I suppose, this is a debate, and so to rebut some of the remarks that have been made by the previous speaker. So there was a remark that was sort of in the final closing motion of the previous speaker that talked about pandering to the slum landlords. Well, I just need to remind that speaker, sorry, the member, Mr Speaker, that in the 9 years of a Labor government, there was at least 40,000, okay, sorry, in 9 years, let's get some figures, because history does hurt, I know that does, and that's why that, so in 9 years, let's talk about what pandering to the slum landlords did under a Labor government. 9 years, 19,000 state homes were insulated, 19,000. That is an average of 2,000 houses per year. Under the national government...
Order. I regret having to interrupt the member, but I will remind members that while it is a robust debate, that doesn't mean that standards as to what they call members are changed. Carmel Sepuloni.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, let's then sort of just remind them, under a Labor government in 9 years, there were only 19,000 houses that were insulated. Under a national government, so far, in its 7th year, 40,000 state houses, 280,000 warm-up houses under the Warm Up New Zealand program. That's an average of 50,000 per year. In other words, by the time we've completed the 9 years, and yes, it'll be 9 long years for the opposition, but here's the figures that will hurt. It'll be nearly 500,000 homes that have been insulated to make warmer, drier and safer. Now that's a statistic that you can't get away from, and I know the history hurts, but it's a reality, Mr Speaker, and we believe that under this government and under this minister, we are heading towards what we believe is important, a balance between engaging those that we know that are important, Mr Speaker, in the sector. So those that are important, Mr Speaker, are key groups of property landlords, the New Zealand Property Investors Federation, who've been engaged and consulted with. Under tenants, it's the tenant protection associations, Mr Speaker, who together have actually said that the process and the balance that this bill is taking is appropriate, it's right, because, Mr Speaker, the other comments, when we're talking about the thickness of legislation or the thickness of insulation, which I think is what the member was trying to get to, he made a bit of a Freudian slip there, was in actual fact, Mr Speaker, that we believe this actually strikes the right balance, Mr Speaker, towards a warrant of fitness. Mr Speaker, we believe that it will amend the Act to require smoke alarms and insulation for residential properties. It will provide greater enforcement for powers for unsafe, unhealthy rental homes. And thirdly, it will reform the law in regards to abandoned residential properties. Mr Speaker, the member previously talked about the fact of what should be enforced, but what the member doesn't always take into account is that who will pay? Where will the cost come from? This has been a consultation with those in the state, in the sector, who've given us their views about what's right, what's balanced, what's appropriate for us to step forward, Mr Speaker. We believe that we're focused in the right area. Those figures again, 500,000 homes being insulated, warmer and drier. In 9 years, 19,000 homes only in state houses. Mr Speaker, this is a government that acts. This is a government that works closely with the sector consult. This is a government that wants to have warmer, drier, safer homes for New Zealanders. Mr Speaker, I look forward as the chair of the Social Service Select Committee to receive this with our committee, to hear submissions and work towards this bill returning back to the House. I commend this bill to the House.